So what I want to talk about today, though, is what happens in the first verse of this Parsha and something that happens in one of the final verses of this Parsha. And as I've been going through, and as I always do when I read through the lives of Avraham and Sarah, and to an extent Yitzhak, and to a large extent as well, Yaakov and his son Yosef as well, because the narrative of Yosef is impressive in scope. It's huge. But I always ask myself a question now that seems to really help me in my discussion with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed is He, about our patriarchs and our matriarchs, and why they're here. Why does Torah spend so much time, so much language, and so much narrative on these people? And that is why are they so important to us? And more deeper, why was God able to work with these individuals where in a way that we haven't seen before, which provides the platform for us who come after, who inherit the spiritual inheritance and the physical inheritance of these wonderful, wonderful people. And so what I love about what's happening in this Parsha, and in particular the verses that we want to look at, is again the use of the language, the way the Torah presents the narrative, the words that are used. This is incredibly important to us, and what I'm about to show you really draws out the wonderful texture of the language that is being used here to talk about and to celebrate life. And this is important because this is, to me, one of the crucial elements of remembrance, what it means to come into remembrance, what it means to set remembrance as a priority in your lifetime. And it has many implications about the way we live our lives in regards to what we leave for future generations. And this is why I believe Torah uses the type of language it does here. So the three verses, well, actually there's four verses that I want to draw upon in our discussion today. The first one, well, there's two that are our main emphasis, but there are four in total. So the first one, of course, is Bereshit 23:1. So 1 to 20 in this chapter is as the narrative of the purchase of the field of Ephron. And the first verse says something very beautiful. And so in English we read, Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. So in the Hebrew it sounds like this: Vayiyu chayai Sarah Mia shana ve'esrim shana ve'sheva shanim shnei chayai Sarah. And so what I've done here, just to point out where we want to go with our discussion on this verse, is I have highlighted in red 127. So what is happening in the Hebrew here is something, it's not unique to this verse, but there is a uniqueness about it that calls attention to us to ask the question, why does the verse do this? And what it does is it separates out the numerics of the years. So the first, again, remember we're reading right to left. So when we start reading the verse, Vayiyu, Chaye Serah, and it become, and these are the life of Serah. And then it has the word Maya. Maya is the word for 100. So Maya Shana, 100 years. And then it goes on to the next word that I've highlighted in red, Ve'ezrim, which is the and 20. So remember that the vav at the beginning of this word is how we translate and. It's not part of the word itself. So Ezrim is the Hebrew word for 20. And what's interesting is just the plurality of 2. So Ve'ezrim Shana, and 20 years. And then the next word we see there highlighted in red is Vesheva, and 7. Okay, and 7 Shanim, years. So we've seen Shana, year. Now we have Shanim, years. So now it's in the plural. And then it repeats the word year, but it's in different construct here. It's Shanei, Chaye, Sarah. So the end of the verse repeats the beginning of the verse in repeating the lives Sarah. So these are the lives of Sarah. And so let's quickly just have ask the question, what do the commentators say about this? That can be the beginning of our conversation and the beginning of our investigation. So Rashi says this. Rashi says, and you can find this if you're like most people don't have, they haven't purchased the books, the individual book, the Rashi books like I have. And that's fine, that's okay. If you want to be able to look at Rashi, if you've got a Chumash, your Chumash will always relate or refer to Rashi, but in a smaller sense. But if you want to see what Rashi is actually saying, the entirety of his commentary on verses, I would encourage you to go to sefaria.org. Now let me just quickly show you this page. So here we have on sefaria.org, and if you want to know how to navigate it, it's pretty easy. Sorry, let's go click on the actual thing. So when you first open up Sefaria, this is the page you will see. They've just updated their site. This is quite nice. It's a beautiful outline. We just click on Tanakh, and then we see the Torah, which is the first 5 books. Go into Genesis. And here we have the chapters. So the particular chapter we're looking at right now is chapter 23, verse 1. So just click on 23. And here is the English text. If you want to, you can change it so it shows you the Hebrew text as well. And then all you do is you click on the verse, and in the right here it will come up with all the different commentaries that are available now they're not all in English, of course. A lot of them are still in Hebrew or Aramaic, but it's got this little lovely thing here where it shows you that there is English available. So we're going to click on commentaries, and look at this. We've got Rashi, we've got Ibn Ezra, we've got the Ramban, we've even got Bechor, Shor. So these are all the different commentaries that are available that you can peruse and look at. And it shows you which ones have English available in them. There's just some wonderful ones here. You've even got Rashbam. Great stuff. Every now and again you will come across the Baal HaTurim in here as well. Not all the time. Here he is here. Kitsur Baal HaTurim. Unfortunately, if you click on that, it's all in Hebrew, so that's not going to help you. The only thing you could do, if you are interested, I've got somewhere, you can purchase Baal HaTurim translated into English. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. This is the book for Devarim, of course, which I'm also going through at the moment. But anyway, let's come back to Rashi. So you just click on it and it'll open it up and it will have the English translation for you there. And I think this is very poignant because it's, again, what is the point of the commentators? That they are doing what we are doing. They've done what we have done. They've done, what we are doing. They investigate the word. And Rashi, again, the importance of Rashi is his approach to draw out the simple meaning of the text. And so that provides the beginning of our questioning, the beginning of our conversation. So what does Rashi say? So, and the life of Sarah was 127 years. Literally 100 years, 20 years, and 7 years. I think if he was to say literally, it would have been 100 year, 20 year, 7 years, and 7 years. But we won't hold on to account for that. So the reason the word shana, which is year, is written in every term is to tell you that each term must be explained by itself as a complete number. So again, why? So at the age, now this is what Rashi infers from this, and this is something that many commentators as well agree with Rashi on this aspect as the idea behind why it's doing this. And I think this is very valid, but it's not the only one, as we shall see. So, at the age of 100, she was a woman of 20 as regards to sin. For just as at the age of 20, one may regard her as having never sinned, since she had not then reached the age when she was subject to punishment, so too, when she was 100 years old, she was sinless. And when she was 20, she was as beautiful as when she was 7. Now, Rashi, what he does here again is he refers to where this idea comes from, and this is very important. So this is not something that Rashi is just making up. He is commenting again as well as on other commentators, and in this instance, Genesis Rabbah 58:1. So this is coming from the Midrash. Now, there's something that I just want to talk about as well quickly, because he alludes to it here as at the end, and when she was 20, she was beautiful as when she was 7. So there's a very interesting Midrash comment on this, and that is that for every 20 years that Sarah lived, and let me just quickly check this. Here's another wonderful book written by Rabbi Aaron L. Raskin. So many of you who are familiar with me know that I will always talk about the book Letters of Light by Rabbi Raskin and how important that book was to me in the beginning of my journey, to introduce me to the broader discussion that I hadn't been aware of at the time. And he's written some wonderful books, and so I encourage you, if you have the opportunity to get any of his books, I encourage you to do, because they're so approachable. His use of the language, or his communication style is approachable, and it's easy to deal with. He takes some very complex ideas and communicates them in a wonderful way to people that may have not encountered these types of narratives before. And this is important for people who are starting out on this journey, as I'm aware many of you are, because there is a lot of narrative that assumes that you are already well along in your journey. So there are books that I do not recommend to people to read, because it's taken me a number of years to understand the type of the way they communicate and the type of language they use, so that they are communicating complex ideas, and Rabbi Raskin is able to present a complex idea in accessible language. And so he talks about